You ever see a project that just has everything going for it? A brilliant plan, an amazing team, plenty of cash, and it just face plants? Well, more often than not, the problem isn't some technical bug. It's a people problem. See, the real success of your work, it often comes down to the folks you might not see every day. The ones who hold the quiet power to either make your project a massive success or stop it dead in its tracks.
All right, so let's dive into this whole world of stakeholder engagement. First, we're going to figure out who these influential people really are. Then, we'll get into why their support is so critical. After that, I'll walk you through a super practical 4-step playbook you can use, and we'll zero in on the single most important tool you've got. And we'll wrap it all up with a final thought that might just change how you see your job.
So, first things first. Who are these hidden forces anyway? Figuring this out is without a doubt the most critical first step. Now really, think about it for a second. Go beyond your team, beyond your direct boss. Who else out there really cares about what you're doing? Who has a real stake in the outcome? The answer is probably a lot bigger and way more complex than you think.
The Project Management Institute has this official definition, and it's pretty broad for a reason. The key words to grab onto here are affect or be affected by. This isn't just about who's in charge, it's about impact. If your project changes someone's world, even a tiny bit, guess what? They're a stakeholder.
And what's really wild is just how many different kinds of people this includes. We're talking about everyone from the exec who signs the checks, to the regulatory agency that makes the rules, all the way down to the end user who actually has to live with what you built. They aren't just your boss or your client, they are the entire ecosystem your project has to survive in.
Okay, so now we know who they are. Let's talk about why getting their buy-in is such a big deal. Because let's be clear, this isn't just about being nice or playing politics. This is a core strategic part of your job. And ignoring it, that's one of the fastest ways to fail.
And this right here just lays it out perfectly. Look at the difference in focus. Your project team, they're down in the weeds, focused on the tactics, hitting deadlines, staying on budget. But a senior stakeholder, like your sponsor, they're living at the 30,000-foot view. They're asking, how does this fit into our big picture strategy? What's the real return on this investment? They care about the why, not just the what and the how.
And here's the bottom line. If you don't actively work to bridge that gap between those different viewpoints, you're just asking for trouble. You get misunderstandings, you get scope creep, and you get a total lack of support right when you need it the most. Getting everyone on the same page through good communication, that's what gets everyone pulling in the same direction.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. This sounds complicated, but it really doesn't have to be. So let's get super practical with a simple, repeatable process you can use on any project, big or small, to handle these relationships.
You can break it all down into 4 simple actions. First, you identify. Just make a big list of anyone and everyone who could possibly be a stakeholder. Second, you analyze. You figure out what they care about, what they want, and how much pull they actually have. Third, you plan. You build a strategy for how you're going to talk to them. And finally, you engage. You actually do it. You put that plan into motion.
Now, let's just double-click on that analyze step because it is so important. This is where you basically become a detective for your project. You're mapping out the political landscape. You have to ask yourself, who's on my side here? Who are my champions? And who are the skeptics? A champion over in IT can make magic happen for you, but a powerful skeptic in the finance department, they can quietly bleed your project dry with 1,000 tiny budget cuts. Answering these questions lets you see the future and stop problems before they even start.
And that brings us to the engine that powers this entire process. It's the one thing that, if you don't get it right, everything else just falls apart. And of course, I'm talking about communication.
But look, good communication is not a one-size-fits-all email blast that everyone ignores. It's about tailoring your message. Your executive sponsor doesn't need to know about a tiny technical issue, but they absolutely have to know if a big risk is about to tank the project's ROI. On the flip side, your team needs that nitty-gritty detail to do their job. It's all about getting the right info in the right way to the right people.
So, let's bring this all home and reframe what this really means for you and the role you play on any project.
If you remember just one thing from all this, let it be this. Stakeholders aren't obstacles you have to manage. They're the ecosystem you have to cultivate for your project to actually survive and, hopefully, thrive. This isn't just a social thing, it's a strategic one. That simple 4-step process can help you get a handle on it all, and the whole thing is fueled by smart, two-way communication. And I'll leave you with this question to chew on. When you really focus on engaging people this way, you make a shift. You go from just managing a checklist of tasks to truly leading a diverse group of people toward a shared goal. Yeah, you need both to deliver a project for sure, but real leadership, that starts with the people who will, in the end, decide if you succeed or fail.